Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel once again. Today is another true crime book review, and this week we are reviewing The Lie Detectors. So thank you guys so much for joining me again for another true crime book review. I know that the last one did not get a lot of views. I don't expect these videos to get a whole lot of views, but I do enjoy reading. I do enjoy book reviews, and because I am doing true crime on this channel, I thought that it would be a really interesting area to delve into, specifically doing books related to true crime and topics that kind of relate to that. So today's book is actually not specifically a true crime book. It is a book about the history of the lie detector, the polygraph machine. And I really did actually enjoy this book a lot, so I am very excited to be able to share this with you. I thought that this book was really well written. I felt that it had a lot of historical information, and for anybody who might not know on this channel, I am a college student. I will actually be graduating in a month, and I will have my Bachelor's of History to accompany my Associates of History. So I'm really excited, and Associates, I think, I don't think the A came out when I said that. But anyways. So this was really interesting to me from a history standpoint as well, but this delves into like where the lie detector test originated as a machine. There have of course been a lot of different ways that people have attempted to detect lying out of people for centuries now, but this is like, you know, the first like machine that was meant to read signs from your body to determine whether or not you were lying. And there have been a few different models of this. There have been a few different people who have contributed to this science, but what this book really goes into is the history of John Larson and Leonard Keeler, and basically their journey in like from the 1920s on with their polygraph machines. And it's really, really interesting. It goes into Larson's first, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of it, but his first attempt at making what eventually over the years became known as the polygraph machine. And essentially he used this in a study at Berkeley. Well, it wasn't really a study exactly. It was his attempt to solve a theft crime that had been happening. Somebody had been stealing from one of the women's dormitories, and they couldn't figure out who it was. And so the police chief Vollmer, he brought in Larson and his machine to try to help solve what was going on, and to just kind of give it a test. It was one of the first times that this had really been used, at least in that area. So it was really interesting to read that kind of background, and there's so much background about the entire process that went into making this, and it also discusses essentially how you know, some people want to say that the lie detector is completely infallible, that, you know, it can't be wrong. We don't say that as much today, obviously. People don't always put everything into the results of a lie detector test, but back then, especially when it was becoming popular, when it was being sensationalized in the media, this is something that happened a lot. Some people wanted to say that it was infallible, that if you gave somebody a lie detector test, that you would know if they had committed the crime or not. But essentially, even as Larson discusses, one of the biggest things about the lie detector is that it, you know, it puts pressure on somebody if they did do something wrong to admit to that, to confess to having committed, you know, whatever crime it was that they had partaken in. Unfortunately, you know, that doesn't always end up happening, but you guys can read so much more about this if you guys read this book. It's really, really good. The full title is The Lie Detectors, The History of an American Obsession. It's such a good book. I really enjoyed it, and I am doing a video on Wednesday all about lie detectors, so I will save a lot of the other information I have about them for that video. But if you guys are interested in learning about the lie detector machine, if you're interested in learning about how it came about, the process of it, who was involved, how it was used early on, how it was sensationalized in the media, this is a really, really good book to look into, to take the time to read. But I would definitely say that as a history major, I really enjoyed some of the more in-depth discussions in here about the history of how it was used early on. and the history between Larson and Keeler and Volmer, and there's a lot of that, mostly all of section 2. There's 3 sections of the book, and mostly all of section 2 kind of delves into the relationships between those 3 people and their pursuit of, you know, the polygraph machine. So I would definitely recommend this. So I'm going to jump right into my ratings. As you guys might know, if you saw my previous true crime book review, I have 2 rating systems that I am using for these reviews. The first one is the Spyglass rating, and that is essentially the quality of the content. So what is in the book, if it seems truthful, if it seems well put together, if it seems that, you know, they really compiled a cohesive story from what's out there. And I definitely have to give this book a 4 out of 5 on the Spyglass rating scale, because it was very, very good. The content was good. It seems to be very reputable, and I do think that this was really well put together and very cohesive for the time period that it focused on in relation to the lie detector. Now, my second rating system is the Pen rating system, and for this book, I'm actually going to give it a 3.5 out of 5 pens. That is because I feel that this book, while I did enjoy it, is not going to be a book that everyone is going to enjoy based on the way that it's written, the way that it does involve a lot of that more in-depth and kind of personal history of some of the people involved and their journey on it. And I feel that for a large amount of people, that might be something hard to kind of push through if that's not something that you're used to reading about. You might be looking for more just hard facts about things, and that's not exactly what this book is. It's not a book about hard facts. It's a book about the history of the lie detector. So I am going to give this a 3 out of 5 because I do feel that for the general audience, it's probably more around there. That's probably how more people would feel about it. I did like the book. I still recommend it, and I do think that the content was absolutely amazing. I think the writing was good. It could have been better though, but I think this book was great. So I hope that you guys have, maybe at the point now that we're at the end of this video, that you have possibly considered getting this book, maybe checking it out from your local library. Don't forget, libraries are amazing. I actually checked this out from the ASU library, which is where I go to college, and I actually did talk a little bit about my research methods and how I'm using this book, how I went about finding different sources and utilizing my college library, my public library, all of that in my Research With Me video from last week, exactly a week from when exactly a week before this video is going up. So go ahead and go check that out too if you guys are interested in my research methods. And next Monday I will see you again for another Research With Me video. Don't forget that every other Monday is a true crime book review, and every other Monday other than that is a Research With Me video. So I will see you guys again in a week for Research With Me, and I will see you in 2 weeks for another true crime book review. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see you on Wednesday for a new video. Bye!